CFI Portland, so if you have questions or connected through CFI, she's the person to go to. Oregonians for Science and Reason is a 501c3 educational membership nonprofit since 1992, and we're statewide. Just a couple details about Oregonians for Science and Reason. If you aren't on our membership list, that's how you get information, is if you sign up. And I think I walked off without membership forms, so let me know if you're interested in joining. So in October, Skeptical Inquirer magazine's Committee for Skeptical Investigations has the national conference in Las Vegas, and Oregonians for Science and Reason has scholarships available for students or recent graduates, young professionals, to attend. And we will be giving out, awarding scholarships again this year. So if you are interested in a scholarship, there's a white sheet back there by Susan's business cards. Or if you know a student who might like to attend, it's a competitive scholarship, so there's a email here to contact to get an application, and submit your application, and we'll consider and select candidates to attend. But it's a really nice scholarship because it covers everything. It covers the conference, it covers lodging, it covers transportation and food, plus a little incidental card to get you shuttles to the airport and that kind of stuff. Because we know right now that students are really struggling, and if you don't actually make it possible for them to attend, it doesn't do any good for them just to get, conference covered, because there's a lot of other expenses for attending. So if you know a student who's interested, let them know about that and pick up a sheet, pass the word along. We really would like to get word out. So this is about that. There's some cards for that. So our speaker today is Susan Gerbeck. Susan and I go back quite a ways, actually. We met at probably your first Skeptic's Toolbox.
The very first.
Which I don't remember. It must have been
2002.
Oh, you were there early. Ah. What was the first year? Anyway, she's been a go-getter since attending. Couple true stories. So, not about you.
Okay.
This is kind of interesting. I'm from Tillamook, and I'm on the Facebook page for Tillamook roads, and it's just people reporting road closures, weather, car wrecks. Yesterday, there was a post up, anybody someplace where it's not cloudy today? It's all clouded over in Bay City. And somebody goes, why? And they go, well, Mars is going to be as big as the moon, and I can't see it from where I am right now. So, go figure. And so today I drove up from Corvallis, and I went to Powell's book on Hawthorne to pick up a book about the 100 things to see in the southern sky, because I'm headed to New Zealand in November. And the person helping me in Powell's looked it up, and yes, they had the book in, and it was in the astrology section. And I go, really? That's really strange. But she sent me back to the shelf, and yes, it was in the physics and astronomy section.
Oh, good.
Why would she repeatedly tell me it was in the astrology section? So, anyway. So there's some need for some science, some public understanding of science. And one person who's had our backs on that since the fire was lit under her tail, was Susan Gerbic, who is founder of Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia, also founder of the Monterey County Skeptics local group like ours, and now a new nonprofit,
yes.
I'm hearing, called It's About Time. And so Susan will be talking about what she's doing and how it's impacted the skeptics movement. So.
Thank you, Judy. We love Judy. Judy and I go way back. So how's the level of my voice? You guys be able to hear me okay? So I have a microphone. And this is my 4th lecture in 4 days. So my voice maybe, who knows? All right, here, let's start. March for Science, 2017, how many went? Lots of hands, wow, almost half the room. How many people were there at the location you're at generally? What do you think? Were you in Portland? How about how many people showed up? Lots of thousands? Tens of thousands?
10,000 easy.
10,000 easy. Okay, so this was Monterey County Skeptics. I am a professional portrait photographer, at least until I retired. And this is the photo I took, one shot to symbolize science, March for Science, Monterey County. And you will see that this kind of symbolizes what's going on in the movement these days. We're seeing a lot more women. Awesome, right? We're seeing women, they're out speaking out, they're in front, these look like the leaders of the group, they're organized their t-shirts, they're like, yeah, science, go, women, science. I believe I don't know if she's saluting the 3rd chorus or she's doing women or some, I don't know, maybe some gang sign, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But another thing that I like about this photo a lot is that there's a lot of children in it. At least 3. Here's this one right here who's my favorite with his mixed match socks and his pink pussy hat and his sign that says, I love science. Awesome. It feels great to know that this generation is coming up and feels passionate about science, probably loves animals or rocks or dinosaurs, who cares, it doesn't matter. This kid loves science and is excited to be at his very first protest. Wonderful, we're raising them right. And then we have these other 2 over here. We speak for the woodpeckers! Except this little guy doesn't look like he's too cared about that.
No.
So in Portland's weird, right? Anybody come dressed as a woodpecker? Or anything have this one? Who represented woodpeckers here?
Only Powers.
Only Corvallis. So anyway, this is a great picture. It speaks about what's going on. 2017, we just had a new administration. People were really pissed off. Lots of attacks on science is what we thought was going to happen. And, you know, we told them. We came out, tens of thousands of people came out all over the world. Actually, hundreds of thousands of people, maybe even 1 million people worldwide came out. And they had their signs, and they're shouting their chants, and they're walking around, and felt wonderful and impassioned, and I loved it. It was great, and the energy. Then what? Did the administration in America listen to us? Did we get a science czar?
No. Longest ever president without a science advisor.
What the heck? They didn't listen to us. Why did they not listen to us? 1 million people or more came out and marched for science in one day. What about March for Science 2018? How many here went? 3, 4. Okay. How many people showed up? Fewer or like almost nobody compared to the last one? Everywhere I've been, this is what I'm seeing. I don't know what happened. We lost our passion. We lost our focus. Maybe it was a wonderful idea to march for science. Maybe it was slacktivism, where people felt like they did something, and then they said, I marched for science, and I'm going to go back to my day. I'm too busy to do anything else. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but here I am. It's bringing me to your store, your place in Portland. I'm all the way down in California in Salinas, all the way to come up here to talk to smaller groups, to talk to you about doing more. How many people here on social media? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those things, okay? Anybody here have, in the last week or so, kind of get into a debate with somebody who was wrong? Anybody here? Oh, no? Okay. Okay, so what I'm seeing is we're fighting on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Guess what? They're not reading what you're writing. They don't care. They're not reading the post you're saying. You might technically change the mind of somebody who's watching, but it's unlikely. And if you are, you've affected maybe one person. And everybody, oh, well, if one person's affected, well, I'm going to show you a way to take back science education, critical thinking, all that fake news stuff. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to hopefully inspire you to do it. So, I run the Guerrilla Skeptics on Wikipedia. I have a lot of hats. This is one of them. This is my most popular one. What we do is we are a Wikipedia editing team to improve, create, rewrite, and support Wikipedia pages on 3 topics: scientific skepticism, the paranormal, and science. Those are the 3 topics we mainly focus on. Some of my editors write other things that intrigue them, that's fine. But as far as our focus, those are the 3 pages. And let me tell you, there is so much work to be done that even if I started today and wrote a new Wikipedia page every day for the rest of my life, I wouldn't be done. We are doing this by recruiting. That's why I'm here. We train and we mentor. We are completely different from any Wikipedia editing group that exists in any language anywhere. We're also completely different from almost every activism group that you will ever find. Not only are we doing this in English, we're doing it in every language possible, because it is too important to not affect all languages. Everybody needs to have good information in places that they're going to find it. So this is Wikipedia. I'm just a kind of overview. So I'm going to kind of go through this enough so that we get to Q&A and get some great questions for you. On Wikipedia, you're going to see that there's a lot of different languages. There's tons of languages, hundreds of languages, every language possible. There's probably a Wikipedia language for it. Not Klingon yet, but there's probably everything else. So you can see, English is the most popular. The Spanish, Dutch, Italian, Portuguese, Polish, Chinese, Russian, French, Japanese, and tons more. So there's tons of languages out there. They're all tied together to somewhat. Now I'm going to tell you 3 stories. All right? I can tell you tons of stories because we've been doing this for years. And every Wikipedia story that we tell, I mean, every page we create or every page we rewrite, every fight we might get into, which isn't very often, but every kind of thing like that, I can have a story for. But I picked 3 out for you guys today, okay? And they are not important. It's not important that you actually know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't try not to read all the text behind me, because I know you're going to try to do it. I'm going to see you going like this in your head and try to read it. Try to just pay attention to the story I'm telling you, because that's where I'm trying to get to, is explaining to you this very complicated thing that we do with Wikipedia. It's not what you think. Okay, anybody know who this is? As I said, it's not important for you to actually know who he is necessarily when I tell you a story, but you'll know. Heard of the Westboro Baptist?
Oh, yes.
Okay, Westboro Baptist. This is the son of the Westboro Baptist founder, Fred Phelps. This is Nathan Phelps, a very kind, amazing man with an original, compelling story. This man is one of the sweetest people you've ever met. He ran CFI Canada, Calgary, for a while up in Canada. Very sweet man. If you ever get a chance to listen to him lecture or watch one of his videos, do it. He is so good of a speaker and kind. And the cruelty that he experienced at the hands of his father and the family and the things that they did. On the stroke of midnight in his kitchen when he was turning 18, when the clock hit midnight and he turned 18, he walked out of the house and never came home again. He had to hide a car several blocks away with all his belongings in it and sneaking things into it. Every day he kind of put a little bit off to the side and sneak it out of the house so he could escape his family. This guy is amazing. Nathan Phelps. This was the Wikipedia page of Nathan Phelps, and thankfully it's a little blurry so you guys can't read it all. So you might take note, Nathan Phelps, I want to read that later, so you know, take a picture of the screen or something. But Nathan Phelps had a Wikipedia page that was really embarrassing. This is his Wikipedia page with almost almost no citations on it. He's got 6 citations, no picture, kind of sums him up like, you know, whatever. Some guy, his father was some prominent leader of a church that was really, you know, bigoted and had a lot of hateful things and whatever. So one of the things that happens when you join my project, not only do you go through extensive training that can take you up to 3 or 4 months, you're trained with a mentor, you're trained with documents, it's a little more complicated than that, but one of the things you have to do when you're done is you have to rewrite a Wikipedia page. You take something that looks like this crap and you get to turn it into something amazing. So one of my editors did that. He was working on the Wikipedia page for Nathan Phelps. We managed to put a photo on it and get a little bit more information on it after a bit, like this. We got a photo, it's a crappy photo, but we were able to get a little bit more information on it. And then what happened is we do all of our work on a secret cabal in Facebook. So if you join my project, you have to be on Facebook. I don't want to hear anything about, I hate Facebook, that's where we do it, because there's no other place to do it. Sorry. But we are on the secret cabal, you're with the peers from all over the world, and we're looking at the page as this guy's rewriting it. It's not live, he's writing it, and he's like, what do you think of this paragraph, how about that sentence, you know? And he's like, well, I'll finish it next week, I've got some time, I gotta take a test, or whatever was wrong. But he had the page almost done, and it just was sitting there waiting for him to finish it, because there was no hurry. Okay, on Facebook, I was scrolling through, and I noticed Nathan Phelps posted that his father was in hospice. Okay, Fred Phelps, the leader, the founder of Westboro Baptist, is in hospice. He didn't really know what was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen. Nobody knew. But I said, OMG, we need to get that page live now. I don't care what it looks like, make it live now. Because if we don't, the media is going to find that crappy piece of page, and we're going to lose an opportunity to educate and get some great information out there and support Nathan Phelps. And I'll explain that in a second. So what happens is we got that page live. Because I have editors all over the world, we're kind of on all the time, 24/7. Somebody somewhere got the message and said, okay, I'm on it, Susan. And then I was able to go to sleep, wake up in the morning, the page is live and everything's fine. So we rewrote the page, got it live, put a nice photo on there this time, and we were able to add all this information. This is the second part. Here's the third part. At the time I took this screenshot, there was 57 citations. I think, it's hard for me to read. 57 citations. It's boring to you, it's boring to me. So 57 citations. So you can see this is 100% better than the crappy thing that we had representing him for a long time. This is one of our people. This man, whether you know him or not, represents us. Us, this community. He's an atheist, he's a humanist, he's a LGBTQ activist, he is was the director of CFI Canada, he was all skeptic, he was all those things that you guys, free thinker, all those things you may identify yourself with. This was a stand, and we were allowing him to have a page that did not represent him well. And now he does. So what we were able to do, and you can't see it's really good, and that's all right. We were able to, these little colored things, orange, yellow, yellow, yellow. This is the word Nathan mentioned on the Westboro Baptist Wikipedia page. So we took the Wikipedia page for Westboro Baptist and we put Nathan's story onto it. Because there's several different pages. Westboro Baptist, Fred Phelps, and Nathan Phelps. They're all independent of each other. But we linked them together by getting Nathan's name mentioned on all those pages. Here's Fred Phelps' page, and you can see this yellow. Can you guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see that we're mentioning him onto the Westboro Baptist and the Fred Phelps page. Because what we want is we know when the media starts looking into it, or people go, Fred Phelps, I thought he died already, or whatever. How old was he? When he died? Whatever it is that people are Googling him, they're going to get the Wikipedia page for Fred Phelps, Westboro Baptist. We want to make sure they're finding out about Nathan Phelps. This is a golden opportunity to make to put our face forward. When I say our face, I mean our community's face forward in a good way. The media is looking for somebody to interview. The media is like, you know, we know journalism. Anybody here in journalism? Okay. Journalists, right now are in a really bad time, especially science journalism. Not only are you supposed to do all the research you're doing, but you got to do all your own blogging, tweeting, blah, 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 blah. The funds aren't there. So the easier we can make the job for a journalist, the better. We want them to get the best information out, and they're often using Wikipedia to find out at least the basics of what it is they're reporting. It is what it is. I don't like that, but that's what it is, and we need to just take advantage of it. So we wanted to be able to make sure that the media had somebody sane to contact when they're trying to find out who they're going to talk to about Fred Phelps. And who else to contact except the Sun, who has outspoken, who is completely pro LGBTQ. I'm sure we'll leave a letter, I'm sorry. But he's pro that, and he's awesome. He's done lectures, he's eloquent, he's kind. What a great contrast, what a good story. But they wouldn't have known about Nathan unless we got that page written and got it mentioned on it. So, and here's some more mentions also on the page. So now,
Okay. I thought that meant the battery was
no, is it blinking?
Yeah.
It is? Okay. Sorry. We haven't been able to record because everywhere we go to, there's so many fans, but you can't hear anything. So it's the first time we're able to record. So in this little space of time that we have in here, 245,000 page views for Nathan Phelps. I think this is over 2 years. So we were able to take, this isn't blurry, this is Dutch. So we rewrote the page in Dutch. A native speaker translated it into Dutch, and at the time I printed out the slide, 2,000 page views, and this is Russian. And at the time I printed out the slide, this is 6,000 page views, because it's important to get the story out to languages, to people who can read the story in their own language and get information about that's pertinent to them, that they, let's get it out to other places. So now this is a fun story. This is my second story. Anybody heard of What the Hell? Okay, so I'd never heard of it either. It was on Netflix. I think in March, if I remember correctly. So I'm on Facebook a lot. I get all these people who think Susan will take care of it. We're in a world of people going, well, why don't they do something? So somebody wrote to me and said, Susan, what are you going to do about it? There's this documentary on veganism, and it's not science. I get this all the time. Sometimes I take it on, and we did in this case. So we looked at it. Now this is a documentary on Netflix. Just happened. And What the Hell is about veganism. There's nothing wrong with veganism in certain, with certain restrictions or whatever. This is not a science documentary. This is an anti-science documentary about veganism. Trust me, there's no science in it whatsoever. So they have a Wikipedia page. Oh dear. Okay? We didn't know anything about it. I knew nothing about it. It just came out a few weeks earlier, and I didn't know. So again, this is blurry. That's fine. What it says up here at the top, it's just like it was an Indiegogo campaign, raised the funds, so-and-so produced it, that kind of stuff. It's just general whatever elite. Doesn't say anything about it being anti-science. It doesn't say anything like that at all. Then down here in this little area, it has featured individuals. Now you can't see it really, really well, but a lot of these people, it's just going on. These are dietitians, cardiologists, executive director of Energy Justice Network, whatever that is, certified nutritionist and a New York Times selling bestseller, New York Times bestseller. Here's a pediatrician. What you can't see on here is a lot of blue. Okay? These are people's names in hyperlinks. I don't know how we can see that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people out of this whole list that have blue on their names. That means they're notable. That means they have a Wikipedia page. That means they can be mentioned on a Wikipedia page, somebody else's, because they've been proved to be notable. All these other people are just names. I can say, let's take Janine and put her on there. Let's take you and put you on it. They're just names. We don't know what your credentials are. We don't know what you've done. We don't know anything about you. We have no way of looking you up. They have no business being on a Wikipedia page. And these organizations, like New York Times, well, yeah, I guess New York Times has a Wikipedia page, but it doesn't mean how associated are they with them. We don't know. What does this certified nutritionist mean? it all makes the page look like it's sciencey, right? It looks like, hey, this documentary I just watched on Netflix that got me really confused. Well, I guess it's okay because the Wikipedia page doesn't say anything and they look like it's really got a lot of scientists. And look, they're mentioned on the Wikipedia page, so they must be somebody important that I should be paying attention to. I'm confused. So no wonder they write to me and they say, Susan, what are you going to do? Do something. Okay, normally I just say, if you guys do that, normally I just say, when are you joining so I can train you so you can do it? Because we don't have the time. But in this case, we took it on. So the first thing that's going to have to happen is this has got to go. It's got to go. But we have this problem. I can't put, if I take that all out, we're left with this little lead, this little thing about the being an Indiegogo and having raised the funds and it's directed by the people who did this. And that's still not saying anything. I need to get some scientific evidence on there from somebody who knows something about this subject and get it on the Wikipedia page so that people, the average person, can look at the Wikipedia page and go, oh, this isn't science. This is a documentary made by somebody with an agenda and blah, 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 okay? But I can't do that if there's nothing published. I can't take a website. I can't take a blog. It has to be from somebody notable. And notable means they have a Wikipedia page. So there's 3 criteria. They must be notable, they must be an expert on that topic, and they must publish something that I can cite. And when I say I mean my team, because obviously I can't have time to do this all by myself. We can't do it. So what the hell? We're looking for somebody who's notable, who has a Wikipedia page, who's probably a medical doctor or a nutritionist or something that's in that field, and is going to publish in a place where they can write something or do a video or something, then we can cite it. Okay? So the rules apply to the skeptic and the humanist and the atheist community just as strongly as they apply to the paranormal community. So we have to make sure we follow the rules. Because if we try to get by with something sketchy, then we have to let them get by with something sketchy. You guys following me okay?
Yes.
All right, so here's the citations on their 7. So I said, hey, let's ask Harriet Hall. How many people know Harriet Hall? I love her. She's from Washington. She's just right at the Pella? Yeah. Janine and I know her very well because we met her at this toolbox, and we've known her for years and years. She's a very good friend of ours. So Harriet Hall is notable. I know she's notable because we read her Wikipedia page. So I know she's notable. And number 2, she's a medical doctor. She has, she's got the creds to be able to do this. And number 3, she publishes on a blog. It's a blog, but it's more like it's a reputable blog. It's not just somebody's blog. She publishes in there. She also writes for Skeptical Inquiry magazine and Skeptic magazine. So she prints in a journal, which is something that I can cite. So I said, hey, Harriet, what's up? You know, there's this documentary out. It's called What the Hell? Have you heard of it? She's all, no. I said, you know, there's a lot of people probably going to the Wikipedia page right now. It's really a shame that it's getting just like nothing and it's like, fluff and people are thinking it's really science. It would be kind of nice if somebody I knew might write an article about it. All right, okay, Susan, I'll wait. So she writes an article about, she goes, I didn't tell her what to say. She's a doctor, she knows what's going on. She went through and she watched a documentary. She wrote a really good, detailed article from a doctor's perspective about this documentary, What the Hell. She published it in Science-Based Medicine, which is a wonderful spot you should be reading yourself. And I said, fantastic. And then she said, Susan, you owe me 2 hours of my life back because that movie was horrible. So in the meantime, while we're still looking for criticism, because remember, it just came out and it hadn't really risen to anybody's attention, this guy was able to publish a video on his channel. And he's a video doctor. He's a science communicator using YouTube as his way of communicating. His name is GSoW, MD. Anybody heard of him? Oh yeah. Do you guys like him?
He's the best.
He's great. I'd never heard of him before this. And I'm dying to meet him. But anyway, so GSoW, he's a very confrontationally funny kind of you know, uses the F word a lot. He's just that world of people he's attracting they like. So again, you can't really read this very well. It says, got a Facebook friend telling you to watch the Netflix documentary, What the Hell? We watched an hour and a half, so you don't have to. So he fits the criteria. He has a Wikipedia page. He is a doctor, so he is able to write about something that has to do with medicine and health. And 3, he's putting it in a venue, a YouTube video, that I can cite, or my team can cite. So he's perfect for it. So we were able to get this on the Wikipedia page before Harriet's article came out, because it was like it took a week. And here's what's on the Wikipedia article. That was the stupidest expletive thing I've ever seen. I feel like I've lost expletive brain cells. And it says that on the Wikipedia page, at least last I looked. So we got that on there. Then Harriet was able to come out with her article, which is much more well-reasoned. I'm sure his was actually more reasoned, you know. He probably had a lot of medical terms and stuff. But hers was a little kinder. And she came out with this science-based medicine article about it. It's a movie with an agenda. Definitely check it out. And then, as I feared, this is probably going to be hard for you to see. But these are blue lines. These are page views of Wikipedia stats. So it started out here with no page views because it was just created. And it starts going up here to 4,000 page views a day, 5,000, 6,000 page views a day. This is all being seen before we got any criticism. This big red arrow is where we were able to add ZDoggMD and Harriet Hall. And just in time, because right here it's hitting 9,000 page views a day and more. And then it starts to trail off. It's still on, apparently I'm told it's still on Netflix. But it's, you know, it's lost its, you know, and so we're down here to about 1,000, 2,000 page views a day. And it probably is still up there like that. So what happened is we were able to get the criticism, notable criticism. We weren't attacking them and slandering them or criticizing them necessarily or being cruel or mean. We don't do anything like that. But we're trying to get notable criticism on there, skepticism. And this is what Harriet writes. What the Health espouses a fairy tale that all major diseases can be prevented and cured by eliminating meat and dairy from the diet. It is biased and misleading and is not a reliable source of scientific information. That says it on the Wikipedia page. So a person now who Googled What the Health, they're going to get a much more well-rounded Wikipedia page. You guys can check it out whenever you have time. Not now, but when you have time. All right, third, and pretty much my last story. So a lot of people know me as the Wikipediatrician. I'm a person who runs a Wikipedia editing team that you will not imagine how amazing these people are. And they've all been trained by us. Fabulous, amazing people all over the world. There's a whole world of people out there who do not know me as that. They would be totally shocked to find out I'm running a Wikipedia editing team. Because my passion that I started off with in the skeptical community was grief vampires. And that's people who talk to the dead. So my boyfriend is Mark Edward. You may or may not know of him. He's a prominent skeptic who has also worked as a psychic for many years. He's an expert on seance. He's an expert on mentalism and magic. And he was a 900-line psychic, wrote books on it, and told about what happens behind the scenes. He lived to tell the tale. So him and I and other people, and if you want to know a lot about this, you can Google Susan Gerbeck Psychic, and you'll hear all kinds of the articles I've written, many, many articles. And you'll be able to see all that. So, Tyler Henry. How many people know who Tyler Henry is or heard of him? Yeah, okay, just a couple. Okay, so he's a psychic on the E network. E for entertainment. And it's not, again, important that you really know who Tyler Henry is, because it could be anybody. This is just the story that we've told. Tyler Henry was a 19-year-old, pretty much picked off of Craigslist to be a star of a reality show on the E! Network about psychics. They were going to follow him and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Now, Tyler Henry is what we call, or what Mark Edward calls, a fuzzy sweater psychic. Do you guys remember Sylvie Brown, John Edward, James Van Praagh? Those were rude, crude people. You know, your daughter's dead, and you're going to be dying of cancer, and you're, you know, they had that rudeness to them that they felt, people felt like it must be real because they're so rude, you know, blunt and everything. Wow, she's just blunt. Well, we've got a new generation of psychics, and now they're more loving and kind and energy and hugging you and big smiles, and they're just the kind of person that you just, oh, he must be genuine, he's so sweet. Oh my gosh, you know, if I went out of town, I need somebody to watch my dog, I'd let Tyler watch him, you know? He just is trusting and adorable. And that's a new generation of psychics that have come out lately. They're just nice and fuzzy sweater type, okay? So it's kind of a term that Mark has invented. So Tyler, here he is on his debut with, I love this slide because I hear that every time. Oh God, Dr. Phil. We've worked with Dr. Phil in the past, and if you go to his show and behind the scenes, they'll tell you Dr. Phil is one of the biggest skeptics there is. And it's possible he could be a skeptic, but look, he's paid $100. He knows what money is. This guy is willing to look the other way. And here he is with his little buddy, Tyler, you're just going to nudgy. So, what a sweetie. So this is like the day or two before his show comes out. I don't like these people. Badly, I don't like these people, if you can't tell. Tyler Henry, I am notable. That sounds really vain, but I have a Wikipedia page. I am an expert on psychics because I've been doing this for years and years and years. I publish articles about psychics all the time on Skeptical Inquirer magazine. And there are articles written about these things that I do. So I am notable. I am an expert on a topic. Expert, you know, as best as you can be. And I publish something that can be cited. So what does that mean? I can write stuff on Tyler Henry and other psychics, and I've done at least 8, you know, on Tyler Henry and tons more on all sorts of psychics. I love all that cold reading stuff, and I got that down. So what happened is somebody wrote a Wikipedia page for Tyler Henry. This guy's brand new to the scene. He came raw, 2016, I believe, January. Nobody knew anything about him. He's 19 years old. Like I said, practically picked off of Craigslist. There's no notable criticism of him because he's so new. It's different if it's Sylvia Brown or James Von Prague or one of those people. Those people have a long history. They've got, you know, they've been through the wares. They've been doing it 30 years or something. But this was our opportunity because here he is appearing on E-Network, and people are going, wow, look, they're touting this guy as the next big thing. He's real deal. Look how sweet he is. Don't you just want to just... So they're saying this guy must be real. He's so nice. He's talking to all these celebrities, these amazing, famous celebrities like Boy George, the Kardashians, Matt Lauer, what's her name? Nancy Grace, remember her? These are people who's, you know, for the past, people who want a little fame because they're out of the limelight now. So I'm publishing articles, and so people are putting them up on his Wikipedia page. Now this is getting back to the stats. This is Tyler Henry's Wikipedia page view stats for about 18 months, from the beginning to 2017. Now what you're looking at here, again, are page view stats. This is the season 1, when there's a lot of publicity. They're starting to market him. They're saying, wow, Tyler Henry coming soon. Don't miss Sunday night. You know, so there's people Googling him to go, who's this guy? Who, what? Who? Psychic Tyler Henry? Never heard of him. Hollywood media? But you see these erratic, really big things. This is hitting 14,000 page views a day. Then it kind of goes down to about 1,500. And then here's season 2. Okay? And then it kind of goes quiet, and then you can see these 2 spikes right here. This is season 3, and that's where I cut off the slide to put it in the presentation. He's on season 4. So, if you could talk to the dead, I'm asking you this question, if you could communicate to the dead, do you think in a year and a half that we would only have 850,000 page views to somebody? He'd be having 850,000 page views an hour. If you could really communicate with the dead, I mean, that's like, oh, you can communicate with the dead. Oh, okay, well, what's my grandma up to? You know, it's like, why don't we solve some little crime? You know, we shouldn't have even police officers anymore. If there's, why would we have judges and juries and all that other stuff and missing children? Anyway, don't get me started. I go on for hours. Okay, so this is the page view stats for Susan Gerbic, and I'm speaking in the 3rd person. So Susan Gerbic is not important enough to have anybody looking at a Wikipedia page other than maybe you guys in the community. And I doubt you're Googling me right now, looking at my Wikipedia page. You better not be me right now. After me.
Just editing it right
Just,
now.
yeah. Can you put a good picture this time? Thank you. Say I'm the most amazing people. Anyway, so Susan Gerbic shouldn't have the Wikipedia page really viewed, and it's a nice control because it means that if she's getting page views, they're probably coming from Tyler Henry's page because she's the most notable critic on his page. So we should see the same kind of trends. And if you look at it, here's where Susan is just starting to get mentioned on the Wikipedia page. She's just starting to write articles about Tyler Henry. And then there's a lull, and then here's these spikes for season 2, a lull, and spike, spike. Just like Tyler's. It's exactly the same dates as the slide I gave you. Okay, now look. Can you see how they mirror each other? You've got, now, this is a logarithmic scale. So, they've been teasing me all the way here. Oh my gosh. I think I'm saying it right, and then I think, oh my gosh, I'm going to get it wrong. These are thousands of page views in blue. These are hundreds of page views. So it's the same thing with Nathan Phelps. You're not having every single person who went to Fred Phelps' page go to Nathan Phelps' page, but a good chunk are. A chunk of them are. And we can only do what we can do, right? So you can see that it's mirroring each other, and you can see all sorts of little trends. See these two little spikes here? They're right there. See this 1, 2, 3 spike, 1, 2, 3 spike. Spike, 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 spike. You can see how they're corresponding here pretty well. So you can tell that people are going for Tyler Henry's page to go, who is this critic? It's not important necessarily that Susan Gerbic gets page view stats. I mean, they're not going to, what are they going to, you know, I don't care about the fame or anything in that case. What I'm looking at is, are they going to the criticism? Are they even reading that far and maybe reading the articles that I'm writing about it? And this is showing you that, yes, at least some people are looking at that. And that's what it's telling us. Anybody notice anything else? Yes.
There are two big drops in yours. One there over to the left and one way.
Is that okay? Okay. I might say something important, so we need to.
You might have to repeat it.
See, I have to repeat it, and I don't think they have patience for that. So, what we're seeing again, this is a nice control. I'm glad that they removed these because it's a nice way of seeing the visual for when I do an audience talk like this. You guys can understand what we're trying to do.
So, just help me understand. Someone was able to just take you out of...
Take the whole criticism section out. Anybody can edit Wikipedia. Just, it's gone.
So someone just went, gone.
Yes. And then somebody else noticed it and said, back.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
It took a few days because I guess nobody really noticed. But I don't want to get you technical. Anybody here edit Wikipedia?
What's that?
Okay. So you kind of know what a watch list is. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Where you can put a page on your watch list so when something's changed, you get a notification saying, hey, something's changed. So I don't want to get into the technical stuff. You have to go through my training to get there. But there are ways for people to know when the page that you're interested in is changed, and somebody noticed it and they added it back in. So that's what happened. Okay, last story. This is a very short one, and I'm going to sum up. And I hope you guys have some good questions for me. Seattle had some really good ones for me yesterday, so Tacoma, I mean. All right, this is Stanley Plotkin. I'm not seeing anybody go, oh, well, yeah, Stanley Plotkin. Any ring a bell? Hey, he didn't ring a bell to me either. Do you guys know who Paul Offit is? Yeah, a little more. He's a virologist, very famous, prominent skeptic in our community, a doctor, awesome guy. Well, we know Paul Offit, and he said, hey, why don't you look into Stanley Plotkin's page? Okay, I added it to our to-do list, which is miles. One of my editors said, hey, I need to do my final project. I'll rewrite Stanley Plotkin's. His name's been on the to-do list forever. This is Stanley Plotkin's new page. So I'm going to tell you just very briefly who he is. He is a virologist. He has been around a long time. He is the person who created the vaccine, or maybe served on the team that created the vaccine for rubella, which is German measles. Some vaccines concerning diarrhea, rabies, and I think it's rotavirus, if I remember correctly. So this guy's been on the forefront of creating some vaccines that are amazing vaccines that have saved millions of lives. I should also mention that he, at one point when he was starting out his career, he thought he would rather be a pilot. But instead he went into medicine and into research, and thankfully he did, because he saved so many lives, I'm sure. Now that he's in his 70s, he went back and got his pilot's license. I love that part. One of the things the GSoW team wants to do is we don't want to just write boring old pages where somebody was born, and then they have their PhD, and then they do great things. Come on. I'm trying to inspire people to go into science. I'm trying to get students to like science and feel like, I could do that. This guy was born in my hometown. Or that woman, she's dyslexic like I am. And look at the amazing things she did. Look at that person over there went to my high school. That high school where nothing ever happens. It's just an awful high school. But look, now they're famous and they discovered a comet in the sky. Or this or that. I want students, and Wikipedia is accessed by everybody, right? Middle schoolers looking for topics and stuff. High schoolers, everybody. When you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with your life, maybe you're going to stumble across a Wikipedia page about a prominent skeptic or a scientist. I said psychic, didn't I? And you're going to be inspired by them and realize that you can do it too. They just didn't spring up, pop into the ivory towers and get their PhD. They struggled too. They don't know what they want to do with their life. They have all sorts of disadvantages and advantages and all these things too. And we want to tell that story. Not gossipy, not trivia, but kind of tell the story in a way that it makes it interesting to students to be able to understand and feel inspired to go into the sciences too. This is this page now, all the citations we have in there. There's a lot. This is the Wikipedia page we found before we even started. I call this a non-scroller because you can look at the entire page without scrolling. 5 citations. This is a man who saved thousands and thousands of lives. We know what Kim Kardashian's wearing, right? She's got a Wikipedia page that goes on for days. Meghan Markle, we know what hat she's wearing today. She probably has a Wikipedia page just devoted to her hats. Some person who, whatever, some football player, whatever, they have amazing Wikipedia pages. We can't have a Wikipedia page that has some respect for somebody who's prominent and represents us? No, because we're not doing it. The average Wikipedia editor probably never heard of them. But guess what? Our community is focused on science education. We are marching for science. We care about science. We want to have these people's backs. We want to represent ourselves and the community and our people. But we're not. If we can't have this, we own this. This is our problem. He can't write his Wikipedia page. His son and daughter can't write his Wikipedia page. It is up to people like us, people like you, people in our community, everywhere I'm speaking. We have to have this. The rules of Wikipedia are rules for skepticism. The rules that we abide by. You have to have a citation. It has to be notable. It has to be a good secondary citation. These rules are all there for us to follow. So I wrote to Stanley Plotkin. I got Paul off and I said, hey, Paul, can you give me his email? I want to write to him and show him that we did his page. Here's what he said. I'm flattered that you undertook this, especially as I approached the end of my career, and asked myself whether or not I have accomplished anything. Let that sink in a minute. This man was forgotten, and he felt forgotten. It's really bad, right? It really is not your personal fault. When I say we, I mean the community of we. It is our fault as a community that we've allowed this to fall through the cracks, that we have not taken this on. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, arguing with people about what's the best word, skeptic? Atheist. Oh no, we can't have that. Let's go, no, we should be brights. No, let's do humanist. Oh no, we should be doing free thought. 4 months later, you're still arguing over it. We haven't come to a solution, and we've wasted 4 months of our time arguing about nonsensical stuff about each other, and oh, you're friends with so-and-so? I don't like you. I'm going to go over here. I don't like them. Oh, you know. This is what's happening in social media. It's too quick to hit that send button, and we're arguing, and we're complaining, and we're fighting with each other instead of building each other and having each other's backs. See if I can get my map. Okay. So, if you decide you would like to join my project, I'm much nicer in person, trust me, or online. These are not real GSoWs. Somebody wrote this. But they're all happy people. And the team I have 130 something people. Did anybody read this Wired magazine that came out about me?
Started.
You started, okay, cool. It kind of sums up the stuff that I've talked about. That's the first article I've had that has been outside of the Skeptic Choir. I came out Wednesday. I drove here Monday. I drove up on Monday. I moved my son to Seattle. He's going to be an air traffic controller. Took everything out of my garage, put it in the car, and drove it, dropped it off his apartment, shoved it on the thing, went and picked her and Paula up at the airport, and we've started our tour coming down. We have 8 lectures in 9 days. So I have barely looked at anything. My social media is kind of blowing up. I've had overwhelmingly, I saw this article on Wired, I have to join your team, I have to. I've probably got 40 people just sitting there. I'm like, okay, I can barely get a shower in, you know, come on now. I'm driving, I can't do anything, but they're all waiting. But if you want to join, we need you. Stanley Plotkin, Nathan Phelps, and thousands of others need you. And if you can't help, that's fine. I totally understand this takes up a lot of time. It's fun though. You meet the most amazing people, but you have to be on Facebook, I mentioned that. It's a wonderful, fun training thing. It takes months to go through it. You set your own pace, you train at your own time. When you're done training, you are still in the group and we're just like loving every little bit you can do, even if it's just small things. Even if it's just proofreading somebody else's article. Training is all at your own pace. So I'm just mentioning that. If you can't help out by being an editor, there's thousands of things you can do to help us out. If you're on social media, you can share our posts. You can say, they've rewritten a Wikipedia page on this, I'm sharing it to my social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That helps us out a lot. We also are now a nonprofit. The James Randi Educational Foundation gave us the biggest prize ever because we're really doing something important. And so we were able to open up a nonprofit. And so now we can take donations. We have a PayPal, or you can see Paula or Deborah over here and help out with a trip. Because we know local groups like you guys can't afford to pay for our expenses. So we're relying on the nonprofits and the generosity of people to donate to help us pay for a hotel, gas, even though I have a hybrid, but it still costs you gas. You know, meals, all that stuff. And plus we're trying to do, we're sponsoring out and helping out people like Janine, who's going to be doing this scholarship stuff. We love that. There's so many things that need to be done. Okay? There's lots of things you can do to help. Even just knowing a lot more about Wikipedia right now, you guys are going to it's going to come up in topics and conversations. You're going to be able to say to somebody, wait a minute, I know something about this Wikipedia stuff now, and that's not true. Here's the facts. Or somebody's going to say, I know a scientist, or I know a skeptic, or I know a doctor, or somebody who's being attacked on Facebook, his Wikipedia page or her Wikipedia page is being attacked. I know who to contact. I'm going to contact the GSoW people. They're going to take care of that and get the vandalism off the page or whatever. You guys, it's going to come up in topics and conversations over the years. So I'm going to give you one last number. So we keep track of every Wikipedia page that we write or rewrite. And I'm not talking about like a little edit we made, because there's no way we could keep up with that. But pages we completely redone, like Stanley Plotkin's, like What the Health, like Nathan Phelps. We're at 666 pages. It just kind of flew. There's probably more, but like I said, I've been on the road, I can barely look at my phone. 666 pages we're responsible for. Most of them are in English, a lot of them, other ones are in Dutch, Arabic, Spanish, German, so on, Italian. We keep track of the page views for those 666 pages. And we're at 29 million and a half now, page views. So damn it, we're doing something. So when it comes back to marching for science, I love the idea of marching for science. I love that whole idea. It's fun. But if you don't have an end game when you're done, we just wasted all that energy and they're like, write to your congressman or congressperson. Okay? That didn't solve anything. But when we do something like this, which is a little more behind the scenes, following the rules of Wikipedia, we have a chance to make great changes in the world. Because people are reading that Wikipedia page, but the media's reading the Wikipedia page. And from the media, they're releasing everything on that Wikipedia page to a wider audience. So even if you don't read the Wikipedia page, you might read an article by somebody who has read the Wikipedia page and got their influence from it. So you know it's a cycle. So we have to do it. So I want to thank you for your time and your attention. I am Susan Gerbic. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. So how do you guys want to do this? Some places want to go for a break because it's kind of intense what I just did, and they want to like mingle and like go, oh my God, and then come back, or do you want to go right to Q&A? I'm fine to go either way.
Question.
Okay, yes, we have a question. So I guess we're going to Q&A. Give it to me, baby.
So, it was great that that one page took it to, your page,
Right?
and then does that take it to the, the Gorilla Skeptic page?
No,
No? So is there no Gorilla Skeptic?
it just goes to Susan Gerbic. Then from Susan Gerbic, you're going to go to all the people like James Randi, anybody who's mentioned on the Susan Gerbic page. You can go to all the other things, but there's no Gorilla Skepticism Wikipedia page. There should be probably now that we're a nonprofit and we're also mentioned in Wired, because now that we're on Wired, that makes us more notable, and that's possibly able to get our own Wikipedia page. But it's not, again, it's not important that Oprah and those people know who Gorilla Skepticism is. My audience is you guys. This is really where I need to be, is speaking to individuals in smaller groups or larger groups.
I just wondered if directing people to that, if you might be able to put, those 666 pages.
We have a website. People who are interested, they can go and they can learn all about it. We have a YouTube channel. We have a website. We have a Facebook group. We have a Twitter account. We have a Instagram page. There's tons of information about us. But to be honest with you, what we do is so odd. It's freaking weird. It takes me having to come and speak to you to learn about it, because if you just read about it, you're like, what? They're editing Wikipedia, so what? Okay, so does everybody else. But it's so much more than that it's hard for somebody to get it, to understand, until you're maybe reading an extensive article. Yes?
Can you talk more about the training?
Okay, so training is all done on Wikipedia, on Google. It's a Google document. I've done all the trainings, all my videos, lessons. When I first started trying to edit Wikipedia years ago, I didn't like it because everything was written. And they gave you every example possible and every term possible on these pages. And I just don't get writing real well. I don't have an advanced degree. I'm a baby photographer for 34 years. I do have technology, this is crazy that I'm running this group. It's actually insane, but somehow it works. Because what I do is I keep myself kind of like the average person. And that's why I can train just anybody, because I don't know the terminology. So when you look at my lessons, okay, there's two kinds of people who join. Coders, who are IT, they got it. They got all the code. They don't have a clue what the heck I'm doing and what the social aspects are and how you relate to these people who are there to go over here and let's ask Harriet Hall and no, let's do this. And they don't got that, but they got the coding down. And then there's those people who have no idea how to code, but they understand the relationships from one page to another and the aspects of socialization. So I keep it really, really simple, and people blossom. I've trained hundreds of people, and they all seem to get it. They come out of the training, they got it. They're like, this is so cool. I'm so glad I found you guys. This is the greatest thing. So training is little tiny edits. You start off with this little edit you make. Next lesson, you're going to add a photo. The next lesson, you're going to add a bigger edit. Now the next lesson, you're going to read a magazine article. And you're going to go to the Wikipedia page and you're going to say, oh, Paul Offit is talking about what the hell. I need to add that to a Wikipedia page. I'm going to add it to what the health page. And you put in that, like that thing that with GSoW, somebody had to say what part to put on the Wikipedia page. Somebody had to decide what part came out of Harriet Hall's. You go on, you go on, you go on, you go on until you get to a rewrite. Every step of the way, somebody's there virtually holding your hand. On Facebook, usually you have a huge secret cabal. We are called a secret cabal. I'm not kidding. We have a lot of fun. We know each other. It's a blast. We attend conferences and we meet each other. Did I answer your question?
Is there any cost to any of it?
Internet time. You're gonna find you're arguing less on the internet. Trust me, your blood pressure will go down. So your blood pressure medication you were taking, because you were editing and arguing with people all the time, you won't be bothered with that. Because you're gonna feel like you're making a difference, and you're gonna be like, whew, okay, got this. And you're gonna feel better about it. And I should point out that Deborah's one of my Wikipedia editors, a part of the GSoW project. And Paula is almost one. She's just a roadie right now.
Yeah.
But she's been through this for years. I've known her forever, and she could probably actually answer a lot of your questions. If you want to know the experience and what it's like to work for me, what training's like, go to Deborah. She'll probably be able to tell you, and I won't be Susan ranting on you. She's nicer. What other questions do you have? Come on, you guys, questions. Okay?
Tell me, did you get any feedback from Wikipedia, or is there?
What does Wikipedia think of this? Well, behind the scenes, for a long time we hid that we were GSoW Wikipedia editing project because we're on Facebook and some people have a problem with that. But the actual Wikipedia editors love it that are outside of GSoW. I should point out that the average Wikipedia editor is amazing. They do most of the work. I have 130 people. There's thousands of editors. They do the majority of the work. But we're kind of like maybe like a SWAT team kind of feel to it. We're trained differently, we're communicating differently. Most people who run into a GSoW editor on Wikipedia aren't even aware of it. They just think we're just another editor. It's really prolific and is really good. We have a lot of admins that know us, and they will send me emails under the table saying, you know, I can't do anything about this, but I think you need to go look at that page. And so we're approved by Wikipedia without them actually endorsing us, because you think about it, it's kind of a scary thing. I'm running a Wikipedia group that really runs the community and it controls the world. Oh, I can't believe I said it. So in a way, if we went rogue, it would be ugly. We could really do some serious damage. So, you know, that's how we have to keep it.
Going along the same train of thought, has there been any resistance or people that have like tried to sort of counter what you're trying to do?
Right. Okay. So we've had. I'm going to name some names. We're completely endorsed by Deepak Chopra, Rupert Sheldrake, Brzezinski Clinics, that Cancer Quack Clinic, Gary Knoll, Natural News.
I missed, you're completely endorsed? No.
Yeah, because they hate me. They hate us. They hate us. So it's an endorsement. They've written and blogged about us. They talk about how we're destroying Wikipedia. We're not allowing them to get their information onto Wikipedia. How dare we? There's a tapping thing. What is it called when you tap their heads? It's supposed to, tapping, yeah. So those people were really upset because people like these skeptics won't allow it onto Wikipedia, and we'd be helping so many people if they would just allow us to put our information on Wikipedia, and we could help people with our tapping. So when I say we're endorsed by them, they rant and rave about it, how awful we are. I'm going home and I'm so bad. We're like, hey, go. We've had very few people who've tried to remove edits, like the Tyler Henry. We had a little back and forth with the What's the Health, because it was a brand new page and people were veganly trying to add these things, and then there was us going, no, I don't think so. We really don't, I don't like my editors to do a lot of confrontation, because if you're running into an edit war or something on a Wikipedia page, just leave it alone for a week. Go work on spontaneous human combustion. Go work on this cancer cure thing over here. There's thousands of things to do. Come back in a month, that troll or that vandal or that pseudoscience wacko crazy person has moved on to something else, and now you can make the edit like you want. So we have very little, because we're that good. Your question.
That's what I was going to ask, is when somebody comes in and takes out what you put in, what happens? I mean,
right, so if somebody comes in and takes it out, you know, we got to look at the reason why they take it out, because maybe they have a valid reason, because we're not the end-all best of everything. It's like, you know, some of the rules of Wikipedia are a little interpretive, and so it depends on how you look at them. And so we'll have to look and see what it is they took out. Maybe it is improving the article. Maybe it doesn't deserve to be there. Maybe we were a little overzealous. So sometimes they improve the article, sometimes they take it out. It doesn't really matter. And, you know, we just learn from it. But if it's completely bad, like where they took out the entire criticism section, like Tyler Henry, it takes like 2 clicks, it's back. And then we can block pages. It's really rare, but some pages, homeopathy, Scientology, Mormonism, some evolution. Some of those pages, if you look in the far right corner, there's a little lock. You probably never noticed it before. That means you can't really edit it unless you're a person who has a lot of history on editing. You know, somebody who's been around for a while. And that's because the page is as good as it's going to get. We have a consensus of homeopathy. This is how it is. If you really want to change it, you got to have a discussion with the editors and say, okay, look, we really need to change this. And they'll say, well, let's try it this way. And they'll discuss it amongst themselves. Not necessarily GSoW, but the world. So we really have very few problems. Most of the Wikipedia pages we make live and rewrite are pages that have been abandoned, like Stanley Plotkin's, because they're just sitting there and it's like, this is embarrassing. You know, this guy is awesome, and why has he got a horrible page? The pages that are the most, the topics that are the most done on Wikipedia, anybody have any idea what they are? There's two. Pokemon characters and porn stars. Those are the best pages you will find on Wikipedia. Pokemon characters and porn stars. At least this is what I was told. I don't know, maybe there's something else now, but those pages are in excellent shape. But look at the scientist pages and you look at scientific skepticism and who cares? We don't necessarily write pages for science. I should point that out. We're not gonna focus on a page on the chemical composition of a nucleoid chemical. We're not gonna do that. That's for an expert to do. We're gonna work on the page for the person who invented it or who discovered it or the organization or the pseudoscience behind blood formula things, colloidal silver, gold extracts, mercury in the tea things. We're not going to work on the page for mercury, but we will work on the pseudoscience of a mercury page or the vaccine denials things, climate change, all those things. And everybody picks pages that they find interesting, not necessarily I tell you to. We don't tell you what to do. I want you to work on a page you enjoy and you feel like you want to learn something about. More questions? Come on, I couldn't have answered everything. Yes?
Mine has nothing to do with this, but I was going to give you an opportunity to briefly tell us about some of the things you've done on the psychics.
Do you guys want to hear about psychics?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, so let me turn hats to my psychic hat, my Green Vampire hat. So we've done a lot of different things with psychics. You guys are probably familiar with Facebook, so I'll try to kind of put this together. So Facebook has, you know, it's a profile of somebody's life, and it's a story you're telling about yourself. So one of the things that we've been doing for years is we're trying to catch a psychic in a hot read. That means they have information about you outside, like they were told about you, they read something about you, they Googled you, they have some information. They looked in your purse when you're in the waiting room and they could see, you know, you have a daughter and you have a cat named Marie or whatever, you know. So that's hot reading. Cold reading is whenever I just go up to you in general and I say, you know, your grandfather's probably dead, you know, because, you know, you're a certain age, it's obvious, and you know, you look at their hands and they don't have calluses all over it, and you say, well, you've never worked in the cutting lumber or something, you know. You tell, cold reading is just general statements that look real, because they throw them out there and they're personable people. So we've been trying to catch a hot reader, because we have a reporter for the New York Times Magazine who said, if you can catch a hot reader, we're going to do a story on you for the New York Times Magazine. And so I'm like, okay, well, we got to get a hot read. So we've done several different things, and you can read about it. You can go to the Susan Gerbic page, Wikipedia page, and there's like links to all the articles we've written on them. So in March 2017, one of the stings worked. And I can't reveal the guy's name, but I can tell you basically what happened, because it's going to come out in the New York Times, thankfully, someday or soon. It's been ages. So what happened is we created Facebook pages, a whole bunch of them. We have a bunch that are just sitting dormant, laying around. Paula's been involved Paula was in this last 2 stings, right?
Yeah.
So I do a lot of different projects. So what happened is the Facebook pages are not linked to my Facebook page. They're not linked to any of these people's Facebook pages. Just imagine this room. Everybody here is assigned, pick a name, pick somebody, male, female, whatever. You know, you just run a Facebook page. Here's your Facebook page. And then you just start talking to each other. And you could be cousins, brothers, sisters, family, friends, cousins, classmates, whatever. You just talk to each other as if you know each other. Hey, Joey, remember whenever we used to ride on that swing together and, back in Illinois or whatever. So you're conversing with each other like you know each other. So we took like about 10 pages. Some people were running 2 or 3 pages, and some of these people are all over the world running these pages. So we say, we're going to go see Psychic X. We're going to go to this event on May 1st in this city. So I say, all right, who's that? Who's the team? All right, you guys, you're the team. So they're going to go and take over those Facebook pages, and they're locked down so nobody can see them but you guys. And they're going to go and you're going to start having, you got a calendar. May 1st is the day the story has to escalate. So all through April, you're talking about your family members, the loved ones you would like to get in contact with. But you're also talking about days at work, your cat, videos, whatever you're doing. So you got to look real, like a real Facebook page. And the story escalates. Somebody's picked, you're having we decide we're going to have 2 people go to the event, to the psychic event, right? It's a male and a female. So we take 2 of your characters, a male and a female, and we'll make them married. And then one of them's having a dream about their brother. His name's Andy. And he died of pancreatic cancer in 2016. It's her twin, okay? So that's one person's story. The husband has a father who died of heart condition years ago, and they didn't have a very close relationship. And now that the husband is older, at the same age his father died, he's starting to have these worries, and he's got heart conditions and stuff. So he's starting to go to a doctor, and he's concerned. So your story is starting to escalate, right? You're still checking in at the Starbucks. You're still going to dinner and taking pictures of your food. Okay, so you look real. You guys following me okay? Okay. So we know that the psychic we're going to see is in Hollywood. So all the places you're checking in are in Hollywood. Even though you don't live there. You could be in Australia. You just have to check in using the right time zone, because you can't be in Australia checking in at a place in a diner or someplace that should be closed. So we have to keep that in mind. So you're just having this thing, and then somebody on your Facebook group says, there's a psychic coming to town. I hear he's great. He's going to be in your area. Why don't you go see him? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. And they're like, I have a friend at work that says he's great. Tag him. They tag him. That means they send a notification to his Facebook page, the psychic. Now the Facebook page opens up, so anybody can look at those pages. Getting where I'm going with this? Okay? So the psychic's looking at your page. He's reading about how, you're concerned about going. Well, your husband now says, I'll go with you, honey. And somebody else says, I'd love to go, but I got to work late. This is just, I really think you should go tell us all about it. Make sure you record it, because we want to hear all about the, whatever. So here comes May 1st. The story escalates. Maybe you're showing pictures of your brother Andrew. Maybe you're showing pictures of your father, whatever. Tagging the psychic. Hey, we're going to be going to your event. Pay attention to our Facebook page. We're going to go to your event. Pay attention to these Facebook pages. These 2 people go to the Facebook event. They're checked in. That means they're said, I'm in the venue now. I'm standing in the venue where I'm going to see the psychic. I'm really excited about seeing the psychic. They sit down in the audience. We use VIP passes. You have to buy passes to get in the front row. If you're sitting in the back, you ain't getting called. They want the people that have the money in the front. And we ask for donations on Facebook. I think you donated to that too. We ask for money because I don't want to take $500, $3,000 or something from one person. I want to take $10 from a whole bunch of people, so we all feel like we're involved in the sting. We get the money together, we buy the VIP passes, we go in the front row. We have all kinds of cold reading things on in case the psychic isn't going to hot read us. We're wearing wedding bands even though we're not married. We have military emblems on our shirt even though we have nothing to do with the military. We have things so in case the psychic reads us cold, then at least we haven't wasted all our money and time. We've got something. But we're really looking for a hot read. So in Hollywood, March 2017, the psychic got up there in a room of about 50 people. I and Mark Edward, we went, and kind of like a married couple, which we're not. It was very emotional. I'm told that my brother is Andy, who's died of pancreatic cancer 2016, and he's my twin. And the beauty of this is blinded. Because I don't know what else is on that Facebook page, because I have no access to those Facebook pages. And neither does Mark. So the people who created that Facebook page are in a secret group, off on Facebook somewhere, locked down, having conversations with each other, laughing like crazy, saying, you know, hey, you tell them something about pizza. You tell them about some pizza. Okay, wait, I gotta wait a day. All right, I'm gonna talk about my favorite pizza is pepperoni and mushroom and anchovies. And everybody else, you guys all gross out about it. Oh, and so the pictures come up of a pepperoni pizza with anchovies and stuff on it. I don't know what's going on in the Facebook pages, only they do. And they're not at the venue, okay? So what happens is the psychic gets up, he reads two other people, the story will come out, it's a long story, I can tell you later, but I don't want to tell you right now because it's just so long. So he comes up and he says, I'm getting a twin brother who wants to reach his sister. I'm going, that's me. So I'm in the audience with my Kleenex all wadded up and I'm like so emotional holding on to my non-husband with our matching wedding rings. And I said, I think that's me. And they come over with the microphone, with a box of Kleenex. That's important because that's what psychics do. They hand out a box of Kleenex because they know they want to get the emotion out of you. As soon as you see that box of Kleenex, you're going to start crying. I'm not kidding. This is a trick. They really do. They hand me the microphone and I take it. Yeah, my brother died. He's a twin. And they said, really? I'm getting him now. Is it something to do with the stomach? Cancer? Pancreatic cancer? Yeah. It's pancreatic cancer. And I'm getting it was recently. Yes, 2016. And I'm getting that he wants to reach out to you. Oh, really? Oh my God. And then the psychic says, and who's Buddy? I don't know who Buddy is. I don't know. Buddy. Oh, I'm so emotional. This is awful. This is so, oh my gosh, he's in touch with my brother. Lady, you gotta, come on. Who's Buddy? I'm like, well, my brother's nickname is Buddy, and so is my dad's nickname is Buddy. It's kind of a family name. Buddy, you don't know who Buddy is? I'm like, he says, you know, he does some other stuff, there's more stuff. And who's Maria? What's this about a jewelry box? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm just bluffing. And so then he goes, I want to talk to the man next to you. Oh, you mean my husband? Yes, your husband. It's not my husband. Gives the microphone to my husband. He's the same thing. Your father, you had a long relationship problems, and there's some distance. And he's like, yeah, distance and in distance emotion. And then he says, okay, what about something about tests? You're having tests done? Yes, I'm having tests done. And then he goes on to who's Steve, who's these other things. We don't know. And then he says, who quit smoking? And Mark is holding the microphone. He says, who quit smoking? And Mark goes, my brother quit smoking. He goes, not you, the twin. And so he's like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, my brother quit smoking too. You know? We don't know. So the psychic, he moves on, and it's a longer story and on and on. So here's what happens is, so after the psychic is gone on to somebody else in the audience, and we're recording this twice, once with our phones because they said you have permission to record, and once I was wired. So I had all the audio, we have all the audio. So here I'm in the audience talking to that Facebook group over there. Who's Buddy? Who quit smoking? What the heck? What was that? What was that? And they're like, oh, Buddy's your dog. Steve is Mark's father. Who quit smoking? We don't know who quit smoking. Who quit smoking? The team's talking to each other. I don't know who quit smoking. And they scrolled back far enough into the Facebook pages, and they found, you know, you can make a little announcement, like I graduated from college, or I moved to a new town, or I got a new job. Andy, my fake brother, who I don't have, had quit smoking at one point, and the psychic had gone back that far that he found the post about the smoking. And what we think, and we don't know, but he had a wire, and that his friend was in the back on the Facebook pages, and he was hearing through the earpiece. So we got this guy, and we did another sting just recently where we caught a cold reader again. But the New York Times reporter was sitting in the audience. He went to every Skype call I had. We did it in Philadelphia. And I just sent a team, you're going. And the team that went had nothing to do with the Facebook pages. We're trying to get another hot read. But the reporter sat through everything. So the article's supposedly coming out, so they'll take that psychic hopefully down. Anyway, so that's that's what I do. And we're doing something with facilitated communication right now that's amazing. We're trying to end, there's universities, pseudoscience, facilitated communication is a pseudoscience, that's all you need to know, do the Wikipedia page. We're trying to end, they're still endorsing, and universities are endorsing and supporting them with workshops, so we're trying to end that. And we think we've got one stopped and we're moving on to another university right now. So that's what About Time does. That's the organization, the nonprofit I have is, that's what we do. And so we use the funds for traveling to places and doing stings and stuff like that. Any other questions? Or done with me? You sick of me now? You guys want to mingle? You guys look like you're stunned a little bit.
It's because it's hot.
It's not hot. We keep them hot. We keep them hot. Okay, so mingle. I'm happy to answer questions individually if you have them.
Oh, tell me, is there,
Yes, there.